Well, good morning and welcome to Law Power Hour. It's a great spring day, and I have the distinct pleasure of having Gail Alpert with me today. Gail, thank you for coming.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, oftentimes our listeners wonder why we have certain guests as lawyers, and Gail Alpert's a lawyer, but that isn't what she does for a living. She uses her legal education to help her with her project. And you're involved in this incredible project coming up in the city of Detroit. When is that project?
The project starts this week, and it's the World Championship of FIRST Robotics. And 35,000 people will be coming to Cobo Hall to compete for the title of the World Championship. World Champion.
Now, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a lawyer by education. I practice real estate. I sell houses. And in my volunteer life, I got involved in FIRST Robotics as a coach of my son's team. And since then, my passion for robotics and what I saw as a way to totally change the lives of so many people led me to work at the state level and then ultimately to help start FIRST in Michigan, which is a nonprofit organization that runs all the FIRST programs inside of Michigan.
Now, this is also a program that's a national program. I want our listeners to understand this is not a program that's just unique to Michigan, but it's a national program.
Yes, it started off and it was called US First, and it was really to get a lot of kids to go into engineering and innovation in the United States because we felt that we were behind and that all the companies and to move the world forward we needed engineers and innovators. But actually, as it became popular, it started to grow to many other countries because people here in the United States are from other countries. And so they wanted to take it home to many of the places that they were, and we are now in 70 countries, and it's now called FIRST.
What's really interesting about this is that there's a crying need for 500,000 engineers within the next 10 years. And this is a wonderful opportunity to stimulate interest for young people.
Yes, it's really a STEM program, and the idea is that we use a robot as a vehicle to excite the kids to feel passionate about STEM careers, science, technology, engineering, and math. It's not necessarily a robotics. We're not looking for them to go into robotics. We're looking for them to pick a STEM career.
Now, your role, you are the chairperson of this not-for-profit corporation, correct?
I'm the president, yes.
Okay. And it's broken down, and I did a little research on this, and that's what it requires me to do a little reading. There's 4 tier levels. Is that correct?
Yes, when it started, it was just a high school program, but they realized that to sustain the high school program and really to get kids to go into engineering and other STEM fields, the best shot that we had was to start young, get them acclimated young, start to grow their interest, keep them involved all the way up through high school. And when they make that decision to become an engineer or to go into another STEM field, we want them on a FIRST robotics team. And the best place, the way to do that was to build our feeder programs.
Okay, you're talking about a feeder program. I want to break this down for our listeners. And there's a lot of grandparents out there listening. I know you're there because you call me. I see you in the mall. You come into the office. You ask me to look at a document for you now and then. So I know you're there. Some of you are Vietnam veterans. Some of you are younger than that, but a lot of you are my friends now after the last several years I've been on TV. You can get involved in this program, so we're going to break it down. I want you to understand how the program works. Explain what STEM is all about so people understand what you're doing.
Okay. So what we do is we have 4 levels of programs. We have 2 in the elementary, one that's K through 3, and the next one is late elementary. We have a middle school program and a high school program. When people say it takes a village to bring up a FIRST robotics team, they mean that. There is a job for everybody. Anyone can contribute and be a major help to a FIRST robotics team. It can be a parent that brings the child and gets involved and watches what they're doing. There are projects that they have to do where they're doing research on a topic that's relevant today in life. It could be about clean water. It could be about the collapse of the bees. whatever. We're picking a topic every single year. You're doing research on it. You're building a model that, at least in the early stages in K through 3, you're building a Lego model. Parents can help. They can help cultivate the interest. They can organize, they can drive, they can buy parts. So many things that anyone can do on a FIRST Robotics team.
And you're looking for volunteers, is that correct?
We're always looking for volunteers. You know, it's wonderful if a school wants to champion it and there's a teacher within the school that would like to be the lead, but oftentimes that's not the case. They're overburdened, they're taxed. So parents take up the lead, which is what I did for my son's FIRST Robotics team, and that's how I got introduced and involved.
That was back in 1990.
2000.
Okay, well, maybe I didn't read it right, but that's okay.
That's okay.
The point is, you got your son involved in it, and now he is a consultant in the engineering field. Is that correct?
He is. And when I got involved, they came to me because they didn't have a teacher to champion their team, to coach it, and they asked me if I would be a coach. My answer was, I know nothing about technology. I'm the least technical person I can think of. But I said, I can keep you safe. I can bring the resources that you need. I'm good at that. And so that's what we did. And we started. I found engineers that were either retired or currently working for companies to come help. No FIRST Robotics team at the high school level can function without engineering help. So there's so many pieces, and you don't need to be the one doing all of it. You just need to understand what the team needs and help.
But the idea of the 4-tier program is that jumping in at the high school level is very difficult for somebody who hasn't participated throughout the entire process. Isn't that true?
Yes, and we also see that when people make decisions about what they're going to be interested in life, it starts very young. With women, it's when stereotypes set in that they're not capable of going into a STEM career, which just is not true. And so the earlier that we start cultivating their interest, the better chance we have that they'll stick with it if we make it interesting all the way up through high school when they make the decision what to do with
You know,
their
my
lives.
wife is the best mechanic in the house. She could take apart anything. I tell her the washing machine isn't running right. So she takes apart the washing machine. I look at her, I said, you're holding the pump in one hand, which is also great physical shape because he goes to Pilates. But I said, what are you doing? She said, well, my dad never let me use his tools because he didn't want me to cut myself or injure my hand. So she puts on her gloves. She does everything systematically. She's very well organized. If my son and I did it, we'd probably leave a part out. But that's the difference between her methodology. So what you're doing is you're stimulating an interest and you're helping people learn methodology, just like a cookbook.
It's like that. And the thing is, what's so amazing about FIRST Robotics is it's not just about the people that are mechanically inclined or electrically inclined. There are so many different aspects to STEM careers, so many choices, and that's what we're doing. We're showing you all the options. So when you build a robot, someone has to think about how to do the strategy of the game. Someone has to think about how to mechanically build the robot, design the robot. They have to do the electrical for the robot. There's a huge piece that's programming to make the robot come to life. All of these different aspects you can choose from. So we like to say that students get to try on all these different careers in high school. Great story. I had somebody on a team who her whole life she was going to go into to be a programmer because that's what her father did. He had interested her at a young age, and she thought that that was what her path was going to be. And she got on a FIRST Robotics team, and she realized she still loved to program, but she loved working with tools. So she decided to become a mechanical engineer instead. She didn't have to spend all the money to go to college to pursue something that really wasn't her true passion. She got to figure that out in high school and even younger than that.
You know, I have a friend who practices law, and I know your husband knows her. She's a senior member of a law firm that's workers' compensation defense work, and both of her children, after leaving University of Michigan, graduating, went on to Kettering to get engineering degrees. And what does that tell you? That they started out in the wrong direction, and now they're reprogramming themselves for engineering.
And so many people, that's the case. You think that you're going to like something, but you haven't really tried it. But what FIRST does is it allows the kids to figure out where their passion is at a young age.
Now, would you agree with me that if children start in K through 3 and continue on in the program, it keeps them off the streets?
Absolutely. And one of the great things is that first, while it may be in the classroom in some places, it's really an after-school activity because there's not enough time to do it in the classroom. And so this is a great way to have your child spend time after school doing something extremely productive and being with like children and learning all of the different things. There's so much more than just robots. We like to say that FIRST is more than robots. Each team, even starting at a young age, is like a small business. They raise the funds, they have to be organized, they have to do marketing, they have to wear t-shirts that have to be designed. So whether if you're into art, anything, we encompass every student in a school, really. It's
We're gonna
not just about engineering.
We're going to take a break for a minute, and we're going to break this down into segments so that our listeners understand why their children and their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren should be involved in these programs because they learn to identify with something in a positive fashion instead of identifying in a negative fashion. We'll be right back.
Are you in legal trouble? Are you in need of legal advice? Or just have general legal questions? Call 1-800-529-8721. That's 1-800-LAW-USA1. And watch Law Power Hour and get your questions answered by experienced attorneys who are experts in their field. That's Law Power Hour, hosted by Barry Keller, attorney at law. Saturdays at 10 a.m. here on WHPR Detroit Live.
Okay, the greatest game in town is this week. It's free. You don't have to pay a scalper. Listen to me very carefully. You don't have to pay a scalper to come down and watch this. Tell us about the free program that's going on.
So we are so fortunate that FIRST chose Detroit to bring the World Championship to Michigan. And it's absolutely free. The actual robots will be loaded in on Wednesday, where teams from all over the world will be coming. We have 7 other countries that will be involved. Many of the teams are from Michigan. They came up through our ranks and qualified. But anyone should come watch. Everyone. It's so much fun. You can see every level of program. You can see the early elementary, the late elementary, the middle school, and the high school. And just walk around. There's an innovation fair where companies are showing you the neat things that they're doing, and you can be a part of it. They're interactive. We have different rooms with different age kids. You can walk through the pits. You can engage the students that are on these teams and learn about what they're doing and how passionate they are. It is such an experience. Everybody should come.
Okay, Gail, when I put my foot on the gas when I get in the car, where am I going?
Cobo Hall. It's going to be at Cobo Hall. That's where we are. And 35,000 people will be coming. And we would want you to be one of them.
And what days is the program going on? How long is the event going to last?
We are Thursday through Saturday is the actual competition. Opening ceremonies are at Ford Field. I would suggest that you come see the robots in action, though, and that will be at Cobo Hall on Thursday all day, Friday all day, Saturday in the morning, when the different division winners will emerge, and then Saturday night at 6:30, we will be playing the final rounds to crown the champion at Ford Field.
So I don't have to pay an admission fee to go to Ford Field on Saturday night. Good Lord willing, we have good weather. It's the 28th of April
Yes.
at 6 o'clock in the evening. I come down there and have a hot dog and not watch a baseball game.
That's right. You're going to see robots playing on a field and people, different teams getting awards.
That is really exciting. And we're talking about robots of all sizes and shapes, because all divisions are going to be involved in the finals, correct?
Oh, yes. Well, not in the finals. Each one has their own finals, but the middle school and the high school program will be on display at Ford Field battling it out for their final rounds. Lego is the what the kit looks like for the younger ones. So when you go into the room and you see these young kids doing it, you will see what they've created. They have to run missions. They work autonomously, the same thing that vehicles today and other machines are doing. This is what the kids are learning early. There's a combination of remote controls and autonomous control.
So this is an incredible opportunity for an entertaining week or an evening on Saturday night, a family event, to come down with your family, to participate, to observe, to learn. You're going to have literature there talking about your programs, aren't you?
Yes, and you can just talk to anybody wearing a volunteer shirt, and we've got hundreds and hundreds of volunteers. You could even volunteer if you wanted to. You could just try sending me an email at gail.alpert@gmail, and I will hook you up.
Okay, now, what about First of Michigan Robotics? How do I participate in that?
So most of our teams are through the schools. So whatever school your child is going to, be it a charter school, a private school, a regular school, even homeschooler, we have homeschool teams. Whatever you're doing, we have grants to get you started. The Lego programs use a Lego kit. We will give the kits away for free for the late elementary program. They use basically an erector set called Tetrix that we use in the middle school. And then in high school, the robots are 5 feet tall and 120 pounds, and the kids are responsible for standing behind glass and controlling them. Think of the wildest sport that you could ever believe, except the people are not playing the sport on the field, but students are piloting the robots that they've created behind a glass wall.
I was watching your YouTube, and it was incredible when I saw these huge robots playing basketball.
Yes.
And it was just incredible to watch them moving around under the control of individuals. Now, these are not the autonomous ones, but there are autonomous ones that are programmed.
No, they are the autonomous
Well,
ones.
they are.
Every single round has 2 parts. The first 15 seconds of the high school program is autonomous, and the middle school program, and then the rest of the 2-minute round, the kids jump on the controls when they hear ding, ding, ding. Drivers take the controls, they jump on, and then they start driving. Basically, what we want to tell kids is, as much fun as you think it might be to play a video game, it's even more fun to design a video game and to create one.
Wait, what you're doing, now, let's break this down. What you're doing is you're stimulating interest so individuals can develop careers. Let's
Yes.
get to the roots.
That's what it is. This is a way to grow the passion for the careers in the future. And the companies support us, and they give money and engineers because they want our kids. Our kids are the ones who have already actually had their hands on everything. It's not just theoretical in school. They've already built robots. They know what a pressure cooker time frame is. They have only 6 weeks to design and build these huge robots. They learn what the game is. They get a kit of parts. They have to figure out what to do with this kit, add other parts to it, and build the most competitive robot that they can. And no one does that without the help of engineers.
So let me explain it in my layman terms.
Okay.
Get your kids off their tutus at home, and they're sitting there playing their Game Boys or they're playing their video games, and get them out in the real world to see what they can learn and what they can build and do. And they can do this instead of playing a video game. They can actually learn how to build a robot, build autonomous robots, program them, and become functional, and perhaps build a career.
You know, if you have a child that's a really good hacker that likes to hack into things, we can teach them a socially acceptable way to use those skills. If you have someone that likes to hotwire a car or likes to take the vacuum apart in their home, and they think that mechanical things are all fun, this is a great program to get them into. They get to do this every single day.
And I'll raise my hand, UDAAA, unlawful driving away of the vehicle of another, hot wiring them because all we needed was a piece of foil in the old days to hot wire a car.
It's a little more difficult today, but the point is, no matter what your interest is, chances are there's some piece of this that you can do. Maybe you love to do marketing. Maybe you're artistic and you love to design logos. Every team needs your talents.
Okay, I'm going to break this down so everybody understands it. You got a whole group of kids in a room, and they're going to play ball, so they're going to pick teams to play ball. And they're going to look across and they're going to play football. So they're going to pick this guy because he's big and this guy because he's fast and this guy because he's his friend. But somebody's going to be left in the corner. He's going to have nothing to do except sit on the bench. And this program that you've developed, nobody sits on the bench.
Nobody sits on the bench. There's something for everyone to do on a FIRST Robotics team. Everyone. The other great thing, this is the tagline that we love to say, is that we're a varsity sport, but we're a varsity sport of the mind. But you actually play on a basketball field with these machines that you've created. But we like to say that we are the only varsity sport where every kid can turn pro. How do they do that? Because there's a job for every one of these kids. And we have 70, so first we get them excited and we get them passionate about a STEM career, and then we give them, if they want to go to college, $70 million in college scholarships dedicated to kids on FIRST teams.
And who's giving the scholarship money?
Colleges all over the world. Why? Because they know that our kids are not a risk. They already know what they want to do. They know how to work hard. They know how to apply themselves, and they're already passionate about doing something. So Kettering is a perfect example. They've given away more than $25 million. First to FIRST kids. They're at over 30%, I think, of their incoming freshman class will be FIRST Robotics kids. They love them. And they also love them because the companies who give the co-ops love them. And so it's a match made in heaven.
Okay, we're going to be taking a break and we'll be back. And I have to break it down for you because I know we're going to get some calls now. You're starting to wake up at home and listen up. And we want to talk about this. We'll be right back.
Are you in legal trouble? Are you in need of legal advice? Or just have general legal questions? Call 1-800-529-8721. That's 1-800-LAW-USA1. And watch Law Power Hour and get your questions answered by experienced attorneys who are experts in their field. That's Law Power Hour, hosted by Barry Keller, attorney at law. Saturdays at 10 a.m. here on WHPR Detroit Live.
I don't want anyone to misunderstand what we're talking about. This is not a program just for engineers, because as I pointed out, when they're picking teams, there's a place for everybody because there's a lot of different components to this. What we're trying to do is teach kids in their formative years to learn to work together. Is that correct?
It's absolutely true.
So everybody has a different role. Someone's going to do the design work for the T-shirt. Somebody's going to sell the T-shirts. Somebody's going to manage the team. Somebody's going to build and assemble. Everyone's going to have a different role. But that's where it starts with teamwork.
And then you even have kids that just do outreach. One of the greatest awards in FIRST is outreach. So you have teams that are assigning certain kids that need to think about how to get more kids involved in this. So they go to elementary schools, they go to parades, they do all sorts of things. There's every single job in the world. Any way that you can support a business and any aspect of it, that's what FIRST Robot, every team is a small business.
And this stimulates young people to start thinking about what they want to do in the future. And the biggest problem that we have in the city of Detroit, next to our reading problem, which we're going to talk about in the next couple of weeks on the show. And the reason we're talking about these things is to keep kids out of trouble so they don't end up in the juvenile system, the adult system, where they end up in jail. And the best way to do it is to educate people and stimulate their interests. That's what we learned in law school, isn't it?
That's absolutely true.
Okay, so getting back to this, topic of what's going on. You mentioned PAL to me, Police Athletic League. How are they involved?
There's a great new initiative that we're doing. We are extremely successful at the high school level in Detroit. In fact, almost all except for 1 or 2 high schools in Detroit already have a FIRST robotics team. So we're doing a great job at that level. But now it's time to build the feeder system, the system that's going to sustain that high school program. So we partnered up with Detroit PAL, which is the Detroit Police Athletic League, because Dean Kamen, who is the founder of this program, and many of you might know him for inventing the Segway, the little 2-wheeled stick that you can balance that has a gyro to balance you so you don't fall over. He actually is an inventor of and has a patent for over 400 medical devices. But when we started this, he said last year, he gives us homework every single year, and his homework last year was to get to know the policemen in your neighborhood. There's a lot of dissension between citizens and policemen. If they work together, he thinks working together on a FIRST robotics team solves everything, and he's probably not wrong. We can take care of a lot of problems doing this. But anyway, he asked us to reach out to the police association in our communities and get them involved in FIRST robotics as mentors on teams. So we came back last year and we reached out to the Detroit Police Athletic League, who run a lot of athletics in the city of Detroit. And we asked them to add this unique type of sport to their roster. And they said yes. And Quicken Loans joined us and did a lot of the funding for us and also giving us mentors and so forth to start to build our program at the lower levels in Detroit. So that's what we did. They started 10 late elementary teams and 10 middle school teams at their elementary schools. And we just got a grant, another $50,000 from FIRST for STEM equity to try to bring this to diverse areas. And we will be continuing this, and our goal is to get it in every single school in Detroit, whether charter, private, public, anywhere. So we are doing extremely well, and we want to start teams everywhere. If you can't find someone in your school that wants to champion this, then you should champion it. You can be a coach.
How can you set up an independent program in the city if one doesn't exist at your school? Tell me
So
what you
a
have
perfect
to do.
example of that is to, we have one of our community organizations, which is Hope of Detroit, came in. The person who's running that program had been on a FIRST robotics team and wanted to give back now that she's graduated and has a job through FIRST at DTE. And so she started a team. She registered the team at firstinspires.org website, that's where it all starts. And then we'll see that you want to start a team, and we will start talking about how to help you do that.
Can I call on the phone if I don't have a computer?
Yes, anyone can call me, actually. I'm accessible 24/7. I'll answer the phone on Sundays, evenings, mornings, we don't care. 248-425-4148. Our job is to help you start a team.
And once that team is started, the whole idea is to bring in a group of individuals that can work together as one cohesive unit.
Correct. You know, learning to collaborate is such an important thing in life. And what's really cool about FIRST Robotics is we like to call it a co-opetition, not a competition, because if you need help, let's say that you're building your robot and you can't get the program to work or you can't figure out how to design a certain thing, all the teams help each other. In fact, at the high school level, we pair all the new teams up with a veteran team. Tell me any sport where we're going to show you our secrets, even though you're going to be competitors. That's what FIRST does. You never play one-on-one. You always play 3-on-3. So you're going to be partnered with them and for them and against them. Everybody has an interest in making sure everyone is successful. So everything that we do is to help you and make sure you're successful.
You see, for our listeners, you must understand, if you start out at the preschool or the early level, your stage 1 program, that's kindergarten through 3rd grade, you're learning to build things with your hands, correct?
You're using a We Do Lego kit, We Do Too. So you're basically taking the topic and you're building a board out of Legos. That's a display. But one part is going to have to move, where you hook it up to a motor and you make it move. So you have to build it, you have to decide what your board is going to look like, you have to program that one thing to turn, and we do that instead of writing code. At the young age, you just sling together little icons. It's a picture, and you make strings of pictures to tell the robot how to move and what to do. And then you're going to come and you're going to present it basically in a show and tell fashion at one of our competitions.
And this is a thinking process. It's not just an engineering process. It's not concrete. It's to get children stimulated. This is what I'm trying to point out. We're trying to stimulate young people, stimulate their minds, correct?
Correct.
And we want them to start stimulating their minds, and we want them to interact with other people to stimulate their minds so that they can start developing in a positive way.
Yes, and to change the world, not just develop in a positive way, but to use their brain and the collective brains of everybody on their team to move the world forward. Great example. One of our late elementary programs called Lego League, where you're using an actual Lego kit. It's not a we do, and you actually make moving robots that have to go through different things on a tabletop, different missions. But part of it is to think about how to solve the issue, whatever that current topic is. So a couple of years ago, the topic was food-borne illnesses, why people get sick from food. And so you, as a group, not only did you build your robot, but you went out and you interviewed whoever you thought would be good on the topic. It could have been a grocery store, it could have been a meat manufacturer, it could have been anybody. But this one team of 9-year-olds went and talked to a grocery who told them one of the problems that we have is people take the item from the shelf, the refrigerated shelf, they put it in their cart, they walk around while they're shopping, and then they decide not to take that item and they put it back. And now it's above the temperature that's safe. So all of the teams all around the world were tasked with figuring out how to make things better. So this one team came up with an idea to just make a heat-sensitive label that when it got above the temperature, it would be right on the thing and it would change color. And so the consumer would know when they walked up to the aisle and they went to take something off the shelf, if it had this label that was the wrong color, don't take it, it means the food got too hot and bacteria could be growing. Well, First loved this so much that they gave an award to the team, and every year they have teams that are trying to submit their ideas. This particular team got $50,000 to take it to market. A simple label that a 9-year-old thought of. This is the capability of these kids.
And is this something that the Food and Drug Administration uses now? I mean, this is phenomenal.
I don't know. But this is just the idea, and that's just one kid. There are students like this all over that are doing amazing things because we're getting them to start thinking about how to help the world through technology.
But we're also getting them to learn to work together and
to
cooperate.
speak and how to talk, and they're interviewed by judges. We are trying to give them all the skills that they need to succeed in life, not to become an engineer, but to learn how to be productive citizens, working in a group collaboratively, helping others, and looking at things critically to figure out how we can change things for the better.
What schools are you involved in the city of Detroit at the present time in the high school level?
Every single one except for one. And that's both the charters, the privates, and the publics. So we are in almost every single school. This year, one of the schools from Detroit made it all the way from their district competitions through the state championship and now on to the world championship, and that is Cesar Chavez, one of the charter schools in Detroit.
And we got to come on and root Cesar Chavez home. That's the point.
Yes.
So let's talk about this competition that's going to go on. If I show up at Ford on Saturday, what kind of robots am I going to see there? Are they going to be large ones like the size of humans? I don't know anything about this. You got to tell me.
So yes, you are. I would urge you to come to Cobo Hall either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday morning through noon, because you can see all the different levels of FIRST and which one applies most to your child. And you can walk through the rooms, you can watch the competitions, you can listen to the awards that are being given, you can talk to students on teams, you can talk to adults on teams. It's just such a haven. It's kind of, if you went into the high school section, you would think that you were at a combination of a rock concert and the wildest basketball game that you've ever gone to. People are screaming and cheering, and it's just like a sport, except that there are machines driven by kids there. So please come and see. At the lower levels, the late elementary, they're working on 4x8 tables where they're running missions, and you'll be able to see the kids fixing their things and how they break and how they fix them quickly. It's just like a NASCAR. All of these competitions are like NASCAR. Think of a NASCAR competition where something breaks and everybody goes into the pits and fixes it up quickly and takes it back out for their next round. That's what FIRST Robotics is.
Here's my question. Don't get mad, I have to ask it.
Okay.
Are the schools going to be busing their kids down to watch the competition this week?
We certainly hope so. We've invited everyone to come. We hope that the schools take advantage of it. If your school is not, tell them that you think they should and that you would like a bus to get there. Our Detroit PAL teams that we talked about, we're waiting to see if they're going to come. They've all been invited by Quicken to come and see the competition. How inspirational to see these kids everywhere that are doing this.
You know, I think it's a great opportunity if you can contact your school on Monday. The competition's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Go into the school, talk to the administration, see if they can get a bus together to get the kids on the bus, get them down there with some parents as volunteers, get them interested in observing the program so they can see what's going on. There'll be literature there, there'll be seminars there, there'll be programs there, correct?
And for any of your listeners that do not have a high school team at their school, please call me, because we are running a special program on Friday from 9 to 3 on the 27th, where we are introducing any school that does not yet have a team or is not yet involved in FIRST Robotics. You're going to spend the day with us. You're going to get ringside seats where you're going to be able to walk right next to where those robots are competing, and you're going to get to watch rounds. You're going to get to walk through the pits and talk to the kids, and then we're going to let you drive real robots. So anyone who wants to come, we would love it. Have the school contact us, and let's get them down, students and a teacher.
We'll be back in a few minutes.
Are you in legal trouble? Are you in need of legal advice? Or just have general legal questions? Call 1-800-529-8721. That's 1-800-LAW-USA1. And watch Law Power Hour and get your questions answered by experienced attorneys who are experts in their field. That's Law Power Hour, hosted by Barry Keller, attorney at law. Saturdays at 10 a.m. here on WHPR Detroit Live.
For those of you who have access to YouTube, you can go on YouTube and watch us, can't you?
Put in FIRST Robotics. This year is called Power Up. It's so much fun to watch. It actually looks, it's designed, our field is designed to look like a video game, and it does. We have scales that tip, and all the robots are having to lift up crates, milk crates, and put them on scales, and it's the blue side versus the red side of 3 each, trying to make their scale tip in their favor.
And what we're trying to point out through these programs, it's not just about becoming an engineer, but it's about stimulating minds so that individuals want to pursue various avenues of education for their vocation, whether they become electricians or they become plumbers or they become artists, or they go into the advertising field or they go into the business world. Correct?
Absolutely. Every aspect of life is covered.
Okay, and in terms of doing this, it's really important to start at grassroots level, isn't it?
Yes, but it's never too late. If you're now 16, get involved in your school's team. It doesn't matter. You can start at any level. It's great if we can start young. But if you're not young and you've already missed a few of those, come in now.
And you said that the Police Athletic League was working with you in the middle schools, correct?
Correct.
What about the lower schools? What's available in the lower schools for the kids to get involved?
Well, the DPAL Quicken Loans partnership is both late elementary and middle school. So it's both, and they plan to expand it even more next year.
Okay, so the late elementary school program is available for what, 5th, 6th, and 7th grades?
It's actually, so it's K through 3 is our lowest program where you just use the We Do kit. Then at 4th, 5th, and if your school goes to 6th, it's wherever your school ends, then you use a Lego kit, and you're in our FLL, First Lego League program. And then as you graduate and move on to middle school, then you start working with metal parts and so forth. And that is for middle school, whatever your middle school is, usually 6th, 7th, and 8th.
And is there grant money available at the FLL level where they're working
Yes,
with?
we give you a free kit. We pay your registration fee for both middle school and the late elementary program. So any school, there's no school that has a reason not to do this. We give you the kits for free. Each kit only serves a certain number of people, but if you have more interest than the number of kids that one kit serves, we'll give you multiple kits. As many as you want, we will give them to you. On top of that, the state of Michigan, if you are connected with a public school, has been offering grants, and you can get a stipend for the coach, and the amount depends on what level program you're in, and you also get money to put in your pocket to help operate.
Now, these are after-school programs, right?
Some of the schools are running them during the day, and we do have curriculum that a school could use to put this into their classroom, but oftentimes, even if it's running during the day, you still have to finish things up after school. So yes, I would say it's mostly an after-school program.
But what we need people out there who want to participate. Are you looking for volunteers now?
Are we looking for volunteers?
I want to hear about that.
We have churches that have adopted schools and given mentors to teams. If you are interested at all in working with youth, we would urge you, regardless of your skills, we can find something for you to do on a team. And we would love you to be in your own area. So anything close to you that you want to work on, we would hook you up with schools and get this team started, or if they're already started, we could help you serve as a mentor. We have different community centers in Detroit, two that I'd love to talk to you about. One is called the Michigan Engineering Zone, where all the schools from Detroit can come and work as separate teams, but collaborate under one roof. They share a machine shop, they share computer labs, they share a kitchen, and everybody can come and work there as mentors on all of these teams.
Where's that at?
That is at Mack and Woodward. It's called the MEZ, the Michigan Engineering Zone, and it's funded by U of M. And a lot of their students that are in engineering and others come down daily. They give them vans and cars, and they come down to the center to work with the kids after school.
Well, what are the hours of that center?
That center, the kids arrive around 4:30 to 5 o'clock. They have a quick meal, and then they begin, and they leave at about 7.
Okay, and can I go down there and register and participate by going down there without
Yes.
having a school that I'm associated with?
You can, and we will hook you up and give you a home, give you a team to work with.
So I can register down there, right?
You can
Repeat
call
that
me
again.
and I will get you involved. It's firstinspires.org has a place for volunteers, but send me an email. But there's a specific place on the website, and I'm sorry I don't have the link in my mind, but where you can just say, and it says, want to work with a team, and you put in your information and I will call you. I get the emails.
And what's the email address?
It's, my email
Yes.
is Gail, Gail, .Alpert, A-L-P like Peter, E-R-T like Tom, @gmail.com.
And for those of you out there who are worried about the safety and security of your children, there's the same screening involved for mentors as there is for teachers, so there won't be any problem. There are background checks before we turn your children loose with mentors, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And if you're working with a team through a school, they probably require even something at a higher level.
But you do have
But we
that-
do. We have a youth protection screening. Everyone gets screened
Okay,
as
did-
part of the mentoring
Did
process.
you hear that again? Youth protection screening. We're going to get to that phone number in a minute. One of our audience was yelling in. What's the phone number?
Okay, so you call me. I will hook you up. 248-425-4148.
We want you to get engaged because it's really exciting. And what's the other center besides MEZ?
So in Southwest Detroit, GM, one of our the champions of FIRST, who is Hispanic, started a center at the Detroit Hispanic Development Corporation, the DHDC, and they have 11 teams that come there after school and work in the center to build their robots. GM has 70 mentors that are split up, and each of them work on one of the teams.
And where's the Southwest location?
That is right near the old Tiger Stadium. It's at Trumbull in Michigan. It's actually not. It's at Trumbull and I don't remember, but it's right in that area.
Near that junction area? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So that center, how do they reach that center?
That center just houses teams, and so if they're part of the Hispanic community there and they're using it, they can go and see the robots being built after school. Our program has basically just ended. This weekend will be the very end of it. But the one team that qualified for Worlds from Detroit works out of that center, the Cesar Chavez School. So come and see it. We are very busy starting in the fall all the way through April.
Okay, now the Mez Center that you referred to that's downtown, is that a year-long program or is that school year?
It's mostly the school year, but many of these teams, because the kids are so engrossed in what we're doing, do activities in the summer. They participate in off-season events, and to get ready for that, they might have to go back to their center and fix up their robot or add something new that they wanted to try but didn't have time during the season. There are lots of activities going on, but the bulk of our season is September through April.
Now, the objective of this is not to build auto workers, but it's to build people who can think and build new concepts for the development of life. Isn't that true?
Yes, and we even build salespeople. One of the things that we do, which helps the students have all the tools that they need, is that they have judges. You could serve as a judge if you have any interest in this. Every single competition has a group of judges that get together and walk around and interview the teams, both based on the mechanical things or the robot that they built, but also the attributes of the team, how well they work together collaboratively, what their marketing is. Do they have a great unified system for marketing that they carry through? Many of these teams have wacko names like the Thunder Chickens, and they have kids in costumes that are serving as mascots at the competitions to promote their teams in chicken suits. I mean, it's everything, and the judges are looking to see all the different attributes of the team, not just the mechanical things.
Okay, and here's a lawyer who's looking at all the attributes of what's going on, using all of her legal skills to put this program together.
Right, and if you can't use language, so that's why the judging is so important. That's such an important tool for the kids to have in their toolbox. They could build the best product in life ever, and if they can't sell it in a succinct manner, then they aren't going to get anywhere with it. So one of the huge things that we're trying to build is great communicators.
Okay. Tell everybody where the international competition is going to be this week and how they can get there and what the hours are.
Join us at Cobo Hall. We are there starting on Thursday morning, starting at 8 o'clock. The pits open at 7. Rounds are going to be starting around 8 o'clock. Come join us. The only thing you have to do is find a place to park. The People Mover will be running. Just come and bring your group and come and walk around and see how inspirational this program is. So many kids that initially were not interested in school that joined our program became interested in school because they saw that the things that they were learning applied to building their robot. And so kids that maybe had not great grades but were really good at building things become stars on teams, and it changes their whole life. No good team can function without someone that can use their hands or learn how to market the team to other people. So please get involved and come see what we're doing and how we are changing so many lives.
What are the hours?
The main hours are 8 in the morning until probably 5:30 at night. The schedule is on firstinspires.org. Go look and you can see all of it. And it's free, absolutely free. We
Except
want
for
you
the
to
parking.
come.
The parking's
Except for the
expensive.
parking.
Yeah, every time there's an event at Cobo, my parking rate goes up $10. So it goes from $10 to $20, unfortunately. But get on the bus and come down there. It's an interesting program. Bring your children, bring your grandchildren, get there. Come to Ford Stadium on Saturday evening for the finals at least.
Yes, and there are lots of seats there, so definitely. But really, you want to walk around and see it up close and personal. Please come during the week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 9 to 5.
Okay, now I want you to go through and explain how people can find out about First of Michigan.
Okay, so we have a website, firstinmichigan.org, and we are part of the national group, and their website is firstinspires.org. There's all kinds of information and resources and tools for teams that want to get started. Go into the various programs, you'll see how they're broken down. Michigan's programs are a little bit different in terms of the age groups. Ours are very specific, they don't overlap. So look at the first website, firstinspires.org, and then look at the Michigan one, and we have grants to get you started for free.
In other words, there's money that's available, and there's food that's available, and there's equipment that's available, and there's Legos that are available, and there are tools that are available. The only thing that's missing ingredients are people. And we want you to bring your children and your grandchildren, and we want you to participate.
That's so true. Please come. We'd love to see you.
Thanks for coming today. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. We'll see you next week.